Hey folks, just wanted to give you a quick update on what's going on with the channel and with me in general. I did one of these in March and people really seemed to enjoy the content, so I figured I'd kind of maybe keep doing a monthly update video about what I'm up to and what this channel on YouTube is up to, really. Now, I know that whenever you're seeing this, you'll notice that I haven't really done a whole lot of content in the last week or so as of the publication date of this video. Kind of just got busy doing a lot of stuff. Was doing some prep work for some casting for the BUYPOWER tournament, as well as some other things that I can't really talk about yet. And it just kind of stopped me getting content out. But I can tell you that I'm planning a lot of content and it just hasn't come out yet. So that's definitely something that I'm going to be getting back to on this channel soon, is getting videos out more regularly. I'll probably just say that content on this channel will pick back up on a more regular basis after the Star Ladder event. I've kind of found that trying to release my content during big tournaments, it doesn't go very well. You know, usually all the content that people are really focused on at the time of a big tournament is everything surrounding that big tournament. And so I'll probably kind of, you know, just get content planned and possibly recorded next week, the week after this video comes out, and then, you know, release it after the tournament is over, and then kind of go from there. And, you know, the rest of the content will just depend on, you know, if news comes out or if things happen that I want to talk about, basically. I mean, I definitely have some behind the play content planned to come out after the Star Ladder event, but other content just comes out as it's appropriate, you know, as, you know, a move happens I want to talk about, or, you know, just something that comes to mind that I want to discuss. So it just kind of depends on those things as well when it comes to content. I did put out a question and answer video for the month of March, the day before I'm publishing this video. If you haven't seen that, please do check it out. I timestamped it to you know, what questions I was talking about, which time in the video, so you can, you know, quickly look at the questions in the description of the video, and if one of them is something you're interested in, check it out. If you're not, then cool, just don't worry about it. But I tried to make sure that it was a longer video, it was 35 minutes, but I tried to make sure that I labeled each question so you kind of focus in on what you're interested in. If people are really interested in Q&A videos in the future, I'll continue to do them on a monthly basis. If not, may do it on a more quarterly basis, maybe every 2 or 3 months I'll do a Q&A video or something like that. Just kind of depends. You know, I want to try out new things with content that I can do on this channel outside of the things I'm mostly known for. And so that's kind of just dabbling and maybe doing a Q&A and kind of engaging with the community. Same with these personal update videos. You know, the one I did in March, people seem to really like it, seem to get decent attention. So, you know, if that's something that people are interested in, I'll keep doing monthly update videos. If not, then maybe I'll only do it every so often when something really big happens or something like that. Or maybe, like I said, a more quarterly update video. So again, just kind of toying around with new concepts and seeing what works, seeing what people are interested in on this channel, and just kind of going from there. With all that, I did just get finished commentating the IBP Invitational, which was an online tournament that featured some of the top teams competing in the North American region. Didn't have the Brazilian teams involved, SK and Immortals, but we did have Luminosity, kind of the third up-and-coming Brazilian team, as a part of it. And then we had, of course, you guys like Cloud9, Liquid, and Optic competing in the tournament as well. You know, you had Misfits, you had Energy. Trying to think who else. Complexity and Selfless for the other teams that come to mind. So I think that's all of them. So obviously Liquid and Optic, you know, having roster situations they're kind of sorting out. Cloud9 trying to figure out what to do with their 5 to optimize it and try to get to better results. And you know, Luminosity trying to continue to climb up the ladder of the North American scene. And then you still have like teams like Misfits and Energy kind of fighting in the middle of the pack, trying to establish themselves, as those lineups are a bit newer to official play. You know, don't really have a whole lot of matches under their belt as 5s. So it was a fun tournament to watch. Again, it's always cool when you're getting to watch best of 3s and you know that there's cash on the line instantly. You know, you're not playing over a long 2 or 3 month season. You're playing right there in the moment in 2 days, and then you're going to get a cash prize for it. You know, obviously not the same stature of a big LAN event with tons of money on the line, but still, you know, there's some decent prize money there for just playing 3 best of 3s basically if you win the tournament. And only takes you 1 best of 3 victory to get into the prize money at all. So in that regard, it's fun. You know, you don't see a lot of online best of 3s unless it's a qualification for a big LAN tournament or something like that. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to see these teams go head to head. Cloud9 was eventually the champions. They beat Optic in the finals, as Optic had beat Liquid in the semifinals, which is kind of cool for that whole rivalry that seems to be, you know, building up there. Maybe some people take it way too far, to be honest, but it's still kind of a cool rivalry, even if you're being reasonable about it. And then of course Cloud9 kind of just trounced through their side of the bracket, having Selfless off the bat, who obviously their roster situation is really in disarray with Nifty just leaving and CJ having only recently come in, and they were playing with Odaris for the first time, I think, at this tournament. And of course, Dizzy has just recently started playing with them. So Caboose is the only guy who really remains on the team. So they have kind of a weird situation going on, but that's just, they've become a team to kind of, foster new talent and then send them off and develop them and then give them, a launching platform into top teams in the region. So, Cloud9 had taken care of that pretty reasonably. Against Luminosity, they 2-1 that series. They lost Duke, but they won the other 2 maps pretty convincing fashion. So I think Cloud9 met in the finals. It was a fun finals. It was 2 maps, but the second map, Mirage, went into double overtime. And so it was definitely a pretty intense game. I think my favorite game of the tournament was probably the Optic Liquid game. I think that those were both 16-14 games. They were very close, came down to the last 4 to 6 rounds, really. It was close in the sense that each team would have a winning streak for a little while, then the other team would respond with their own winning streak. It wasn't as if, 2 rounds to 2 rounds or trading 1 for 1 all the time. There was a couple instances of that, but it was still really good games to just kind of see those 2 teams go at it. Though, again, you're still kind of waiting for them to get their rosters sorted out, as Liquid was standing in with Hazed. And, of course, Jason R. still trying to figure out if he's going to be the long-term play for Optic or not, or if they're considering other options or what's going on there. But had a lot of fun casting that tournament. It's cool working with the Civo folks again. Don't really get to work with them too often anymore because they don't really have the pro league as they used to in the past. They kind of had to bow out from the professional scene in that regard just because, leagues like EPL and ECS and then all these other qualifiers going on, it made it really difficult for there to really be a place for any more online play in the North American scene. And so they kind of bowed out of that, but they still, help with stuff. They still help with production for different events. They helped do stuff with MLG in the past, and they may, if MLG does CSGO stuff in the future, help them again. Who knows? Did some help with Gfinity as well, and they did some help with the Northern Arena Montreal event last year. So they definitely can still be around the scene, maybe doing production and operations work for other tournament organizers, just depending on how things go. And they're probably going to continue doing these iBuyPower type tournaments as long as iBuyPower wants to keep doing them. They also ran a tournament for CyberPower PC last year, so that's a possibility. And I've heard that there's maybe some other online cups that some companies out there may want to do to get something going. And I mean, it makes sense to have one-off tournaments like that, because for a big company that wants to throw an event like that and put up, $20,000 or something like that prize pool, that's relatively not so much when, it's just going to be online. So obviously costs are low to run an online event like that. It's not that much prize money you have to dish out to do it, and you do get a lot of awareness out of it. I mean, the last 2 days, I think we were reaching just under 50,000 viewers for the semifinals and finals. So that's not too shabby. So you definitely could see these one-off type events as well every now and then. I think they do have some more planned. And so, yeah, again, really fun working with the Civo crew. Really cool, doing the online tournament and kind of just watching the teams play. Fun performances out of some of the teams. Look forward to seeing what happens with these teams going forward. Also, shout out to the people I commentated with at that event, Seaside and Scrawny. I know both those guys have been doing a lot of grinding lately to try to kind of work themselves up in the talent pool. Seaside, he's doing the ECS Community Caster Challenge for Season 2 and just recently Season 3. So he was casting a lot of games for the Development League for ECS. He also does stuff with Northern Arena. He worked at the Toronto event and did some qualifiers for them. And I think he was doing something called the Razor Rising Stars tournament for EFrag or something like that for some of the teams in the SEA region. And he like, if there's ever something that has open IPs, like some of these DreamHack qualifiers and stuff, he also jumps on those as well. So I know he's grinding his ass off and he's trying to get a lot of casting under his belt and build up his channel. A lot of it's solo casting, of course, but he's got there grinding, and it was cool to work with him, try to give him some feedback, try to help him out. He was kind of asking me for advice and giving him some, and even I can learn from these newer casters as well. So it was definitely cool to work with him. And then someone like Scrawny, he's also been on the grind. He did some of the ECS Caster Community Challenge. He's doing stuff for Mountain Dew League, doing stuff for Fragadelphia. He was at Northern Arena Montreal. He's trying to get more work as well. And I think he is, really talented for someone who hasn't been doing it very long. And I think me and him work really well together. The roles are clearly defined. I'm clearly color. He's clearly play-by-play. He was, really good at, kind of giving me opportunities to come in and bring an insight in the middle of a round when it was kind of slow or where it felt necessary. And it felt really good because I had casted with Seaside before for Northern Arena stuff. So I was already kind of familiar with Seaside. And so we could work together pretty well from that respect because we had at least some experience together. But for Scrawny, that was my first time ever casting with them. And so when you're casting with someone for the first time, there can always be kind of speed bumps or things in the way that kind of make the cast a little bit rocky, but I thought I went really well. I casted with him more than I casted with Seaside. I think me and Scrawny did 4 best of 3s together. Me and Seaside did 2 best of 3s. So, I got a little bit more kind of time with Scrawny in recent memory. And yeah, I think it worked really well. I think particularly the Optic Liquid best of 3 that we did together was probably our best cast. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I really, hope to see Scrawny, do some more stuff as well. Wish them all the best of luck. Hopefully we'll see them around more. Lots of fun working with them. And that's really all I can say about it. For me, that was a long day on Sunday, the day before I'm recording this video, rather, because I had done DreamHack Tours qualification stuff with Metuz, so I wound up casting, pretty much 13 hours straight between the Tours qualifiers and the IBP finals day. So long day. That's why my voice might sound kind of hoarse, but it was a lot of fun. Getting out there and commentating again. I really hadn't done any commentary except for the DreamHack Austin qualifiers since Leipzig, so I think it's kind of sitting there for a couple of months, not really doing much. And then I got the Austin qualifiers with Metuz, Tours qualifiers with Metuz, and now this IBP stuff. And so hopefully there's going to be more to come as well. I know last time I did a personal update video, I was kind of, just saying I'm just kind of waiting, just trying to chase opportunities, just trying to stay positive and patient and all those good things. And I had done Leipzig, and I felt really good about it, and I felt like I had a good year in 2016, and I had seen a lot of growth, and despite kind of a mishap there towards the end of the year, that was kind of a bump in the road for me. I was trying to work past it and do better and improve and just try to, keep my knowledge up, keep my strength strong, and then try to work on some problem areas, and that's what I'm still trying to do, and hopefully it's going to pay off. I've heard some really promising things lately over the last couple of weeks about some things coming up, and so it's looking up. It's looking like maybe my patience is going to pay off, and some of this hard work, I'm going to be able to reap the benefits of some of that. So, we'll just have to see, just keeping my eyes open, still hunting down opportunities again. There's some things that look pretty promising, some things that look like they're probably going to happen for me, but I still just got to wait a little bit. And of course, I can't really say much about it, but you'll see that stuff coming out soon if it all works out. And so hopefully you'll be seeing me sooner rather than later doing some more broadcasts for some stuff. So there you have it. So that's kind of an update as far as content and then commentary stuff that I've been doing. I did just want to give a couple of more updates on content really quick here at the end. First off, me and Metuz are planning a podcast, so I wanted to put that one out there. Maybe some people already knew about this if they watched Metuz stream or they've been watching some of the other videos. Maybe I mentioned it already. I can't remember if I mentioned it in the previous video or not, but we're definitely doing that. We've kind of been toying around with what the format of it's going to be and the name of it and all those different things. Basically, what it's going to be is a probably not esports related content, basically. We might talk about some esports on the podcast, but we figure we do a lot of esports related content on our own and such, and so we kind of wanted to do something different. And me and Metuz, we have a lot of common interest in movies that we like and TV shows that we like and music that we like and things like that. So we kind of wanted to do something where we get to talk about some of our other interests in life, basically outside of esports, but we still want to talk about video games is the thing, because there's a lot of video games that we enjoy that maybe aren't esports, or we don't know if they'll be esports, or maybe they're only smaller competitive games in comparison to the major esports titles out there right now. So we're definitely going to talk about video games. And like I said, we also want to talk about, movies and music and TV shows and different things like that, whether it be our top 10 movies or TV shows, or whether it just be stuff we've been watching recently and what we've thought about it. And it's going to be a mixture of things that we like and a mixture of us shitting on stuff that we think was awful. So it's going to be kind of a mixture of that. It's going to be no filter, it's going to be real loose, really laid back. Kind of just thinking about what we would do if we were just sitting there in a green room having a drink and just talking smack. We're just going to do that as a podcast, basically. And we wanted to focus, obviously, on things related to media and some of the things I've mentioned already We think we have a name for it. We think we want to call it digital discourse. We like the alliteration. It sounds good rolling off the tongue. And I think it kind of encapsulates what we're going to be doing. We're talking about all things digital, basically. You know, a lot of focus on television and movies and video games and things like that. So what do you folks think, basically? I mean, you know, tweet at me, put in the comments below what you think about that name, what you think about the idea of us doing a podcast together. We'll probably still touch on esports a bit on it, depending on things, but it's just not going to be an esports focused podcast at this point. So get your thoughts on that. Also, outside of the podcast, I wanted to let you folks know that we'll probably be doing some Battalion 1944 content on this YouTube channel. I think I mentioned this in the Q&A video, and I'm not sure if I mentioned it anywhere else, but you've probably seen me tweeting about the game if you follow me on Twitter. They just released some of the first footage to the public after the EGX Res Expo in London, which was very recently before this video. And of course, they have been, you know, releasing bits of news here and there last few months. So it's a game that I'm really interested in. Me and Metuz actually met with the devs once to talk about some things related to the spectator UI for the game. And we're definitely going to be involved in testing out the game in the alpha and beta phases and things like that as well, and giving more feedback. So it's definitely a game we have some interest in, you know, speaking for me and Metuz, but definitely something I'm planning some content for. But doesn't mean that it's going to take away from CSGO, by the way. I don't want you to think that I'm giving up on CSGO content, or if I'm going to do Battalion content, that means I'm going to have less time for CS content. Definitely going to be able to do both. So just wanted to put that out there. Plan of content so far for Battalion 1944 is I want to do an interview with the devs on kind of like a hype episode, basically. So that's probably going to happen. And then I think I'm trying to do as well an interview maybe with some of the pro players from like COD 2, COD 4 that have been involved in testing Battalion and in giving feedback to the devs for the alpha phase. And now that there's some game footage out, and we know the alpha for that game's coming out in the next month or so, and then the beta a couple of months after that, now that we're starting to get close to the game actually being playable, I think it's cool to maybe get some content out there to kind of talk about the game, as it's definitely a game that I at least want to do some content for on YouTube and see how it goes and see how I enjoy the game and kind of go from there. And it may be another option for a second esport title for me to do commentary for or analysis for. Same thing for Metuz. You know, we're trying to kind of do a duo thing in CSGO and see how that works, but we also could see ourselves doing some Battalion if that game winds up being an option, as we have a lot of love for the game. You know, I did some COD 4 pro mod stuff back in the day. Not a lot. I wasn't very like a big part of the community, but I did some. And obviously, Metuz competed in Call of Duty 2, and he did some casting for Call of Duty 4 pro mod himself. So definitely we have some interest there, and in a game like Battalion that's going to be kind of modeled after the best of COD 4 pro mod and the best of COD 2 kind of combined together. And, you know, part of, you know, trying to expand yourself as a broadcaster is being open to doing other games, you know, to do multiple games at once. And so CSGO is still going to be a big part of what I do, and I'm sure what Metuz does going forward, but it makes sense if we find another game that we really like to maybe add that to, you know, our resume, so to speak, and kind of, you know, expand and do multiple games like you see a lot of the talent doing in the CSGO scene, expanding and doing other game titles, whether it be content or commentary work. So just want to put that one out there as well. Health-wise, making progress on that as well, losing a little bit of weight, still not really where I want to be, still not losing as much as I would like to, but I'm trying new things. You know, I'm tightening up my diet again, definitely getting stronger, going up in weight and all my lists and things like that, so definitely making some progress on the health front as well. I'm going to keep that going, and then just going to continue the grind, man. Going to keep doing my research, keep, you know, my knowledge sharp in CSGO, you know, keep trying to come up with ideas for new content for that, you know, maybe start working on some Battalion content, and just keep working hard, keep staying positive, keep patient, and just keep trying to pursue things. And so that's really it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please subscribe for more content. Catch you next time.